Okay, so what have we learned about research design? So we learned that what research design is about. It's a plan, it's a framework, it outlines the procedures for what we're going to do. Pero the main thing is that para dun sa thesis natin, research design is essentially corresponds to chapter 3 of your proposal. So you can think about your chapter 3 as the part where you write up your research design. So ano ba yung ano yung parts ng research design? The main elements of the research design are one, your unit of analysis or observation. So the question there is who or what are we studying? Okay? And then sampling method. So how are we going to select? How are we going to identify our subjects for study? And then procedures. Okay? How are we going to collect the data and how are we going to analyze the data? And then the last element, budgets and work plans. How are we going to address our time and cost constraints? Okay? We learned about the three approaches to research: quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods research. The difference between these three is primarily in terms of what kinds of data result from those methods. Quantitative research, the data is more in the form of numbers that can be analyzed through statistical procedures. Qualitative research, the data is in the form of words, narratives, and other non-numerical information. Okay, so mixed methods, um, as it implies, combines quantitative and qualitative research methods, and then which one do they use more qualitative? Do they use more quantitative methods? Will depend on the kind of problem that they're trying to address. Okay, so we learned that your choice of methods and often how you define your research methods reflect your research philosophies as well. Okay, and then we introduced you to the wheel of science, wherein there are two main systems of logic when we talk about scientific research. So we have deduction, wherein you start with a general theory and then you try to find out does this theory apply to specific observations. And then yung induction is the reverse. You start with individual observations and then you try to look for patterns or generalized patterns from those observations. And then based on those generalizations, you propose a theory for how things work. Okay? And so the wheel of science implies na induction and deduction aren't really parang polar opposites, but they're really parts of the same cycle of continuing research. Okay, kasi once you proposed a theory through an inductive process, then others or perhaps yourself can now go on a deductive journey to test that theory, and then if it's and then you can at the end of that process you can either reject your theory, you can accept the theory, or you can improve the theory and then continue with other observations. Okay? And then we also reviewed the four main types of research in terms of different of their main research objectives. We had exploratory, descriptive, explanatory, and predictive. And the main point I want to emphasize here is that if you understand, first of all, if you understand what kind of problem you're dealing with in terms of um, should I is does this problem suggest na dapat deductive yung approach ko. Dapat kumuha ako ng theory tapos titingnan ko kung nag-a-apply dito sa kaso na to or sa mga kaso na to. Okay? Then that will suggest what kinds of research objectives are going to be part of your study. Kung yung pagkaintindi mo sa gusto mong gawin is I want to get information from these tourists, this group of tourists or this group of destinations or this group of tourism officers. Tapos based dun sa makuha ko sa kanilang mga sagot, summarize ko and then sabihin ko ito yung conclusion. Here is my explanation kung bakit ganun sila, bakit effective sila or bakit ganun sila karami bumili ng ganito. Okay? Your explanation becomes the theory. Okay? So through this semester, we will work on trying to understand where are we within that wheel of logic. Okay, and then if we understand where we are within that circle, okay, um, we can also have a better understanding of um, sorry we can also have a better understanding of, is this more likely to require a parang quantitative approach to the research, or a qualitative approach to the research and to my design, right? So hopefully that we've given you enough of a preview of research design, so that you'll now understand, as in the next few weeks, and also your assignment will be focusing on specific research methods, so surveys, um, experiments, focus groups, ethnography, etc. So as we go through the different methods, go back to this wheel of science, go back to our systems of logic and our four research objectives, and try to relate which methods appear to be appropriate to the approach or to the logic that I'm trying to use for my problem. Okay, thank you.